Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Monday, May 19th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, Cash App $ ORIONNWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the Seattle Mariners versus the Chicago White Sox. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Monday, everyone. And on the thumb on the left is our center fielder stud, Julio Rodriguez. And on the right, the best player on the White Sox, a center fielder himself, Luis Robert Jr. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting second, DHing for Seattle, Jorge Polanco. Batting third, playing center field, Julio Rodriguez. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, catching today for the Mariners, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting fifth, playing left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting sixth, playing first base, Rowdy Velez. Batting seventh, playing right field, Leody Taveras. Batting eighth, playing second base, Dylan Moore. And batting ninth, playing third base for Seattle, Ben Williamson. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 3-3 record, an ERA of 3.65, Luis Castillo. Let's go La Piedra. Now let's get into the starting lineup for the home Chicago White Sox. Leading off for the White Sox at shortstop, Chase Meadrow. Batting second, catching today for Chicago, Matt Thaiss. Batting third baseman, the former Dodger, Miguel Vargas. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, center fielder, Luis Robert Jr. Batting fifth, playing right field, Joshua Palacios. Batting sixth, DHing today for the Sox, Andrew Vaughn. Batting seventh, playing left field, Austin Slater. Batting eighth, the former Seattle Mariner, playing second base today, Josh Rojas. And batting ninth, playing first base for Chicago, Timothy Elko. And on the mound for the White Sox with a 2-4 record, an ERA of 3.65, it is Davis Martin. And we'll be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and 100 in the donos on every single stream. We're one sub away from 20,800, so I assume that we're going to be able to get that here tonight, since we're only one sub away, and then obviously 200 after that to hit 21,000. Let's go, baby. Let's get everything situated with all of my screens here. And we definitely need to make sure that we're playing up to the competition, not playing down to the competition. And we know the White Sox are 14-33. They're 9-12 at home. They're not as bad as they were necessarily last year. The worst team in baseball now is the Colorado Rockies. At least the White Sox have that going for them. But again, putting up 15 runs against the Padres and getting the brooms and only giving up 3, you're not going to see that often from any opponent that the Padres face, but we were able to do it in the last 3 days. And if we have focus, we should be able to win 2 out of 3. If we win the first 2, we will have an opportunity for a sweep. But again, if we get a little lackadaisical and we're kind of playing down to the competition, you don't really know, what Chicago is going to do. And if they start off fast and, beat us up early, there is a chance that if we play off, we could win only 1 out of 3. But again, with a lot of the series, being definitely winnable, especially the next 6, we have to make sure that we're doing our job, and hopefully we can get that done. First pitch to J.P. Crawford from Martin. Takes a strike looking on the line. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. High and away with that cutter. 1 ball and 1 strike from Martin to JP. And like I mentioned with Davis Martin, 2-4 record with an ERA of 3.65. So we should have a good chance to be able to win, obviously, these 3 games here in Chicago. 1-2 pitch. And JP strikes out. Damn it, JP. 1 away. Next up for the Mariners, DHing Jorge Polanco. Top of the first, we're knotted up here at 0. Mariners and White Sox. Let's go, Polo.
Oh my
Let's go, Polo. Need a fast start. First pitch in play from Martin to Polo, and Polo grounds out to the shortstop, throw to first, 2 away. Next up for the Mariners, in center field, in the 3-hole, Julio Rodriguez. And Julio has been very good in May, much improved from March and April. Trident's up. Let's go, Mariners. First pitch to Julio, high and away with a cutter. 1-0 count from Martin to Julio. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Martin to Rodriguez. Go, baby. And Julio in play, grounds out to third, throw to first. And that is the end of the Mariners in the top of the first. Hopefully we'll be a little bit better as the game goes on. On the mound for the Mariners with a 3-3 record, an ERA of 3.65, just like Martin, Luis Castillo. Let's go, La Piedra. We need 6 solid innings, baby. Let's go. Leading off for the White Sox at shortstop, Chase Meadroff. Batting second, the former Angel catcher, Matt Tice. And batting third, the former Dodger third baseman, Miguel Vargas. Let's go, Mariners. Steph in the building, what's good? Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 likes within the first hour so we can hit that algorithm, 30 to 50 overall, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. And again, we're only 1 sub away from 20,800, and once we hit that, we'll be on the countdown of getting to 21,000. Only a couple hundred away. And hopefully the focus will be looking forward and not necessarily looking back. I mean, it was great to be able to score 15 runs and only give up 3 to the Padres, but again, Padres aren't going to get swept that often, but this definitely could be like a letdown series if we don't have focus. The White Sox are only 14-33. They're 9-12 at home. So, I mean, if we're able to, sweep the Padres, you would think, yeah, we should be able to sweep a team like the White Sox. Then we got 4 games against the Astros, and then we play a very hot Twins team. So we'll see where it goes. But again, a lot of these games coming up are going to be winnable. But, again, focus has to be there. Starting pitching has to be there. Bullpen has to be there. And hopefully the bats can come alive. But the Seattle Mariners' next 6 series are against the White Sox on the road for 3, at Houston on the road for 4. Then we play the Nationals at home for 3, Minnesota Twins for 3, Orioles for 3, and then the Angels on the road for 3. So, leadoff, first pitch, popped out to Ben Williamson at third, 1 away. Down goes Chase. Next up, catcher, former Angel, Matt Thaiss. Let's go, Louise. Yeah, Rojas definitely struggling quite a bit, but a lot of, Mariner players that have moved on, some, have been able to flash here and there, and you've been able to see them have some moments like Ty France, and then others like Josh Rojas, Hollywood, has not really been able to find his footing there. But you can pretty much say that for every player on the White Sox, besides maybe Luis Robert Jr. First pitch is outside, takes a strike looking on the line, should have been called ball, called strike, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike looking, same location, probably should have been called ball, called strike, 0-2 count from Castillo to Thaiss. 0-2 pitch, low and at the knees, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Thaiss, and it probably should be a 3-0 count. 3 balls and no strikes, but we'll see how the ump calls this game. 1-2 pitch, 4-seam fastball, high and away, fouled off by Thaiss, the former Angel catcher. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out with nobody on. Bottom of the first, Castillo on the mound, Thaiss in the box. In play. And Thaiss singled the right. Next up, former Dodger third baseman Miguel Vargas. Bottom of the first, runner at first with 1 out, Vargas in the box, and La Piedra on the mound. First pitch from Castillo to Vargas, high and inside, 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Pitch. Pitch is low and at the knees, low and away with that sinker. 2 balls and no strikes from Castillo to Vargas. Pitch. Takes a strike looking inside. 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour from Luis Castillo, La Piedra. 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first and 1 out. Castillo on the mound. The former Dodger, Miguel Vargas, in the box. He's probably wishing he was still there in Los Angeles than getting sent to this dumpster fire that they call the White Sox. 2-1 pitch. Pitch is high and inside. 4-seam fastball. 3 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first and 1 out. Bottom of the first, we're knotted up at 0. And again, we have to bring the focus. In this particular series, we want to make sure that, we probably aren't going to be playing the same type of way that we did against the Padres, but, we got to be able to grind out these games and, not play down to the competition. Easier said than done after having a 3-game set against the Padres and scoring 15 runs and only giving up 3. 3-1 pitch, takes a strike looking in the zone. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. Castillo on the mound, Vargas in the box. Captain in the building. What's good, brother? We're one sub away from 20,800, so I assume we'll get a couple today. And again, then the countdown begins to get to 21,000. We'll only need a couple hundred after that point. In play. And Vargas flies out to center. Julio's out there. No fly zone. 2 away. Down goes Miguel. Next up for the White Sox, their best player, center fielder, Luis Robert Jr. Was on the trade block last year, and we'll find out if he'll be on the trade block this year as well. First pitch from Castillo to Robert Jr. Sinker fouled off right down the middle. 0-1 count. If you could help me out with the likes and the subs and the donos, Captain, it'd be greatly appreciated. 0-1 pitch. Low and away with that slider. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Robert Jr. Daniel in the building, what's good? Nick in the building, what's good? Cole in the building, what's good? And just followed you back. Followed you back, Nick. I just saw your notification there. Appreciate the love and support. Pitch is low and away with the slider. 2 balls and 1 strike from Castillo to Luis Robert Jr. And it looks like we just hit 20,800. Thank you to whoever that was that just recently subbed to the channel. Let's go. Now we're 100 away from 20,900. And only 200 away from 21,000. Let's go. Pitch fouled off. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Luis Robert Jr. And in play on the 2-2 pitch, flies out to Julio Rodriguez in center, no fly zone. End of the first inning, we're knotted up at 0. I mean, they did have Crochet, and that was an amazing player that obviously now is on the Boston Red Sox. Luis Robert Jr. has pretty much been the guy, since he's been there. I mean, really not a whole lot else there. I mean, Andrew Benintendi when he's healthy, the former Red Sox, but I mean, you don't really got a whole lot to work with. And when I was actually updating the roster, since, it's much different from last year. I literally had to get new photos of pretty much everybody in the starting lineup and adding a couple extra for Luis Robert Jr. But, if you're looking at the lineup, the White Sox are kind of one of those teams that isn't like a team that builds from within through the farm. It's like a bunch of journeymen that were fired from their previous team, or traded to this team, and then they got something else in return. Like Theis, obviously, was the angel catcher for quite some time. Miguel Vargas, had some good moments for the Dodgers, but at one point kind of hit a wall, and then they gave up on him. And then another guy, obviously, as you guys may know, the former Seattle Mariner at third base that filled in for Eugenio Suarez after we let him go, Hollywood Josh Rojas. Unfortunately, when you go from a team like the Mariners to the White Sox, it's probably pretty depressing. And Rojas is batting only 171, but they have quite a few players in their starting lineup that are batting under 200, like half. So again, we have to be thankful for what we have, and we got a good farm system. Our pitching staff is getting slowly but surely but healthy. And again, if we can just focus on pretending in our heads that we're playing the Padres still instead of playing down to the competition of the White Sox, we should be fine. Next up for the Mariners, big dumper catcher Cal Raleigh. I saw a graphic from some nerds that follow the MLB like myself, and it says, if he keeps pacing the way that he is pacing, he's due for 55 home runs. Now, we don't really know if Cal can get to that number. We assume that he'll have a hot month, but he might end up having a cold stretch with the torpedo bat. But 55 homers and 120-plus ribbies is what he's pacing for. Not saying that he'll get there, but even if he gets to 40 home runs, typically he's about 30 to 35. But if he can hit 40, that's pretty amazing considering we haven't had too many guys hit 40-plus or even in that 50 range, unless we're talking about guys like Ken Griffey Jr. First pitch to big dumper, Cal Raleigh, high and away with a 4-seam fastball, 1-0 count from Martin to big dumper. 1-0 pitch, low and at the knees with the cutter, 2-0 count from Martin to Raleigh. Let's go, Big Dumper. Two-0 pitch and popped up to the shortstop. 1 away. It's okay, Cal. I still love you. Next at bat, my guy. We got you. Next up, a guy that sometimes lollygags in left field, and it definitely needed to be called out, but finally found his way yesterday. Left fielder Randy Arozarena, and hopefully we'll be able to get a few more walks. He's going to be able to get hit, by pitches pretty often, kind of like our modern day Ty France now. But I just want to see a little bit more patience in the box, and hopefully we'll get that here. First pitch, low and away with the cutter. 1-0 count from Martin to Randy Arozarena. 1-0 pitch from Martin. Same location, low and away. Cutter, 88 miles an hour. 2 balls and no strikes to Randy Arozarena. And if this was Randy earlier in the year, or even just a few weeks ago, or even a few games ago, that would have probably ended up being 2 strikes, just swinging blindly. And Randy grounds out to second, throw to first, 2 away. A little bit more patience, Randy. I flipped up the photo for you, and you did it yesterday. Let's get it going again. Next up, first baseman in the 6 hole, a guy that's really turned it around since we had him in that Toronto Blue Jay series, WrestleMania weekend, Rowdy Tellez. First pitch, high and away with the curveball, 80 miles an hour for Martin, 1-0 count. Top of the second, nobody on with 2 outs. Martin on the mound, Rowdy Tellez in the box. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking inside with the cutter, 91 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 2 outs. Let's go, Rowdy. Bring that electricity, baby. 1 swing. It could be 1-0. Let's go, baby. 1-1 pitch. High and away with the changeup. 2 balls and 1 strike from Martin to Tellez. And Martin has a 2-4 record with an ERA of 3.65. So nothing really to get too worried about. But again, we need to make sure we're scoring early and often. Magic number obviously will be, 4 runs, 7 to 10 hits. Typically if we can hit that number, we're good to go. It's just when we get into those games where we get 1 to 3 runs, where we may win, but we may not. Depending on who we're playing. Takes a strike looking with the changeup. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Martin to Tellez. Come on, Rowdy. 2-2 pitch, fouled off with the cutter, low and away. Count remains 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and nobody on. We're in the top of the second, knotted up at 0. Lauren in the building, what's good? Appreciate you, Captain. Both pitchers with identical ERAs. That is correct, Nick. But I think, most people would agree Castillo is the better pitcher. Now, obviously, if this was, 2023 or 2024, you could say Castillo was probably the worst, out of the 5 that we had with Gilbert, Kirby, Wu, Miller, and Castillo. But this year, with all the injuries, with Logan Gilbert and George Kirby, and obviously with Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock essentially being AAA pitchers, Luis has actually been pretty good. The best he's been since we first brought him in from the Reds in 2022 when we made the playoffs. And a big swing and a miss. Down goes Rowdy Tellez. Let's go to the bottom of the second inning and see who's up next for the White Sox. Next up for the White Sox, right fielder Joshua Palacios. Batting second in the 6 hole, DHing today, Andrew Vaughn. And batting third in the 7 hole, left fielder Austin Slater. Let's go Mariners. Let's go La Piedra. Let's go Luis Castillo. I would have to go back and go through to see the exact day that we put them, on the IL. But just to give you kind of an update of what we're looking at right now, you got Taylor Dollard. He's on the 7-day IL, due back May 20th. Trent Thornton, even though he's the worst player on the team, besides Donovan Solano, due back May 21st on a 15-day IL. He could stay on the IL for the rest of the year if it's me. George Kirby, potentially could make his debut May 22nd on that 15-day IL. Logan Gilbert, May 27th on the 15-day IL, and Bryce Miller on the 15-day IL, due on May 27th as well. So, by the end of the month, we shouldn't have anybody, that we're really kind of waiting on. Obviously, we know what happened to Ryan Bliss and Victor Robles, so they're not going to be ready, anytime soon. But also another guy to look forward to, down the road will be Luke Rayleigh. So again, we've had plenty of bodies to step up, next man up approach. We got the number one farm system with 10 guys in the top 100. So, even if we have additional injuries, we have other guys that could step up. First pitch from Castillo to Palacios. Takes a strike swinging, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Low and away with the changeup, 87 miles an hour, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Palacios. But we do have some guys in the farm that have been doing very well recently. And I wouldn't be shocked, if we end up seeing Harry Ford, at some point, sooner than later. I would love to be able to see him get called up. Durangelo is wheeling and dealing. And also Colt Emerson, they're in AAA, our highest rated player, doing pretty nice as well. And Palacios doubles to right on a 1-1 pitch. Come on, Castillo. Nice base knock by Palacios. Next up, DHing for the White Sox here in the bottom of the second in the 6th hole, Andrew Vaughn. First pitch, 5 feet off the plate with a slider, 1-0 count. Come on, Luis. But even when Bryce does come back, I would rather go with Logan Evans, and I know Bryce probably would be very depressed, with that, but, we have to go with who's playing good this year. And I trust Logan Evans more than Miller or Hancock at the moment. He would be the new Brian Wu, in my opinion. George Kirby obviously could, slide into that 2 spot, but you can have Gilbert 1, Kirby 2, Wu 3, Castillo 4, Logan Evans 5, and you can really interchange any of those guys in the order, considering Brian Wu is our best pitcher this year and should be an all-star. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking in the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike from Castillo to Vaughn, and hopefully Dan Wilson will be the manager of the American League, and then we can get Brian Wu in the All-Star game, Cal Raleigh in the All-Star game, and Andres Munoz in the All-Star game. I don't really think that Julio's numbers are good enough to get to the All-Star game this year, but if he gets hot from now till then, voting time, who knows? That could be an additional guy. Vaughn grounds out to second, Palacios to third, 1 away. Yeah, Castillo was very, very wild. Anyone that, throws that heat, we have to be aware of that. And that typically is guys like Wu, Miller, and Castillo. Gabe Spire, guys like that, that are trying to throw through the hitters. And sometimes, when they're on, they're great, but most of the time they're a little wild. And that's why it's better to have guys like Logan Gilbert and George Kirby that aren't trying to throw 95 to 100 on every pitch. Sometimes they can slow it down, and Kirby is like the Greg Maddux of the MLB. He's about location, and it works. And Gilbert is kind of in between, what Kirby is and the rest of the staff. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging, behind in the count now 0-2 to Slater. Come on, Castillo. We don't want to give up any runs early. And we have had a reputation of our starting pitching being a little rusty and a little raw within the first couple innings. And then usually if they give up a couple, back-to-back hits or a couple back-to-back RBIs or a solo dinger, they usually settle down after that, thankfully. 0-2 pitch, fouled off. Count remains still 0-2 from Castillo to Slater. Smoke his ass. Come on now. 0-2 pitch. High and inside with the 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Slater. Come on, Luis. And we don't expect any of the staff, even Wu, And Slater strikes out swinging. There we go, 2 away. But in the past, in the first kind of era when we had those guys a couple years ago, you were potentially looking for 10 Ks out of all our guys, starting. But baseball has changed, and you don't really see guys get 10 Ks that often anymore. Next up, the former Seattle Mariner, Hollywood Josh Rojas. But again, even if you get to 5 to 7 Ks, you can still end up, being very productive with pop-ups and ground outs and not giving up, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 runs. So, with the, the shifting, and all the, pitch calm and all the different rule changes, it definitely has changed the game. It's shortened the time span down as well. We're not really doing 4-hour baseball games anymore, which is nice. But again, pitchers have to work extra hard now. 1-0 pitch, high and away, four-seam fastball, 2 balls and no strikes from Castillo to Rojas. And half of the lineup for the White Sox is batting under 200, so this should be a winnable game and a winnable series. And to say that, we could sweep this team, it's not being cocky. We just swept the fucking Padres, who's one of the best teams in baseball, right? And we held them to 3 runs total. But when you kind of play down to the competition, it wouldn't shock me if we end up giving up more than 3 runs this series. Hell, we might give up 3 runs in a game, playing down to the competition like Chicago. And that's one thing that the Mariners have a problem with. And it's not just the Mariners, it's every team. In play, and Rojas lines out to center. Julio staying busy today, and that's the end of the second inning. Down goes Hollywood Josh Rojas. Go to the top of the third inning and see who's up next for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners in the 7-hole, right fielder Leody Taveras. Batting second in the 8-hole on deck, second baseman today, Dylan Moore. And batting third baseman, welcome back to the lineup, Ben Williamson. Let's go, Big Ben. Let's go, Ems. Go, baby. Slow paced early on, but you know that big inning is going to come at some point, and I'm not really sure how many home runs we're going to hit against the White Sox, on their field, but hopefully we can get a few in the series. Davis Martin on the mound, Leody Taveras in the box. First pitch to Taveras, takes a strike looking with a four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Davis Martin, 2-4 record, ERA at 3.65, just like Castillo. Castillo got a 3-3 record. 0-1 pitch, low and away with the changeup, 90 miles an hour by Davis. No, by Martin. 1 ball and 1 strike from Martin to Taveras. One pitch in play and flied out to left, 1 away. Next up for the Mariners in the 8-hole, second baseman Dylan Moore. Let's go, Demo. Bring that electricity, baby. First pitch, low and away with the four-seam fastball from Martin to Moore, 1-0 count. Basically came in here. She misses Dad, so she wants to come hang and watch the game. One 0 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike from Martin to Moore. 1-1 pitch, four-seam fastball inside in the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Martin to Demo. Yeah, I've been keeping up. I keep up with everything that's going on, not only with the Mariners, but everyone in the division. And again, it's very easy to go up and down in the division depending on who you play. You know, you could play a really good team and get smoked, you know, or you could play a really good team and, overachieve like the Mariners did and sweep a team that we had no business sweeping in the Padres. So, you know, depending on who you play from series to series, you're going to get movement in the division. So, again, you know, there's going to be times where the Astros will be in second. There'll be times where the Rangers or the Athletics will be in second place, but I'm not really worried about anybody else in the division. You know, good for Stormbum and the Astros, you know, to kind of come back and climb up into the division as Demo flies out to center 2 away. But really, the only team that we should be focused about is the Mariners. We already know we are the best team in the division. You know, there's not a lot of teams that are like us. You know, it's the Tigers, the Yankees, and the Mariners in the American League. Those are the top dogs. You know, you got the Mets and the Phillies and the Dodgers and the Padres and the Cubs and the Giants in the National League. National League is much better than the American League. But again, we don't need to really worry too much about what those teams do. We just need to put our head down and worry about what we're doing, and everything will fall into place. But I have seen some movement in the standings. I've been paying attention to that as well. Pitch inside, fouled off. Behind in the count now 0-2 to Big Ben Williamson. Pitch, low and away, fouled off by Williamson. Behind in the count now 0-2 with nobody on and 2 outs. We're in the top of the third. And the Astros series should be pretty good. We'll see what happens in this series. Now, if we were to sweep the White Sox or win 2 out of 3, then we would have a very good chance, of winning, at least 2 games against the Stros. But if things go well, we could win 3. I don't think we would sweep them, and I don't think they would sweep us either. Worst case scenario against the Stros, you only win 1, but I don't see that happening. And Williamson reached on an infield single to second. There we go. Nice little single there by Big Ben Williamson, trying to get us going here in the 3rd inning. Next up, shortstop J.P. Crawford, 0 for 1 with a K. Slowing down a little bit from his consecutive game hit streak that he had that ended. Hopefully he can get back going again. First pitch, foul ball, change up right down the middle, 90 miles an hour plus, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, high and away with a cutter from Martin to Crawford. 1 ball and 1 strike to JP. Top of the 3rd, runner at first with 2 outs. Ben Williamson at first. Let's see if JP can get on as well. Let's go. Pitch is high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to J.P. Crawford. I mean, even though the Astros are our biggest rival, I'm not going to just shit on them and say we're going to sweep them and act like they're not good or they're not a solid team. That's the team that usually is kind of a thorn in our side. But the main reason I feel a little bit more confident going against the Astros this year compared to the past 3, 4, 5 years, they don't have the big 5 anymore, right? They used to have 5 main guys. Now they have 3. And Crawford singles to left, Williamson to second. Nice job. Runners at first and second with Jorge Polanco up next. So you got Bregman on the Red Sox, right? So obviously you don't have to worry about him anymore there. And then obviously a big loss, on the Cubs. You know who it is. So again, when you end up, missing out on key pieces like that, like Kyle Tucker, and, Alex Bregman, you still got Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, and you still got Jeremy Pena, but it doesn't have the same kind of feel where you feel a little intimidated by the big 5. And then if their pitching is on, then it's going to be a long fucking game. But pitching has been up and down for them. You could say the same for the Mariners, but the lineup from 1 through 9 is not as intimidating as it was in years past. So that's why I think most Mariner fans feel a little bit more confident, which they should. First pitch to Polo, high and away with the cutter, 1-0 count. Now, if they still had Tucker and Bregman on the team, and if they got hot, yeah, they could definitely win 3 out of 4 against us. But with those two key components not there, it should be a little bit more up for grabs, in my opinion. But they're still good enough with the roster that they have to beat us. But no one's sweeping 4 games, Seattle or Houston, when we play each other. Realistically, it'll probably be 2-2, but we can shoot for 3 games out of 4, depending on how we do in the first 2. In play. There we go, baby. Back-to-back-to-back hits, and that's what I'm talking about, baby. Polo singles to right. Williamson scores. JP to second. 1-0 Mariners. Fuck yeah, baby. Let's go, Polo. You the man. Next up, Julio Rodriguez. First pitch fouled off with the cutter. 0-1 count. Runners on the corners at first and third in the top of the third, and we got a 1-0 lead. And again, we just need to try to shoot for 4 to 5 runs each game. We get that. We should easily win. 0-1 pitch. Fouled off with the sinker in the zone. Julio behind in the count 0-2. Polo is definitely overdue, Steph. I agree. Griffey loves it, baby. Let's go. Top of the third, runners on the corners at first and third. And, the Mariners play 2 different ways. It's either we get home run, and then we start kind of going off that way. Or, once in a while, we'll have a game like this where we actually get back-to-back-to-back hits, and then it ends up leading to a run or 2 scored. So, we have different ways that we can, find victories in the MLB. And, wow, JP slid really hard into the bag there at third. Almost twisted his ankle. I hope he's okay. Looks like he's good, though. Top of the third, 1-0 Mariners. Runners on the corners at first and third with 2 outs. And let's see what Julio can do here. In play, and Julio grounds out to the shortstop, and that is the end of the third inning for the Mariners. But again, the damage was done, and it's nice to be able to have Ben Williamson and JP get it going, and then Polo getting the RBI. So nice job by Polo, nice job by JP, and nice job to get it started. Ben Williamson, it's always about the guy that gets on first to kind of start the Uncle Mo and the momentum. Nice job. Let's go Mariners. Way to bring that electricity early, and that way we don't have to wait to see what happens in the 7th, 8th, and 9th when we're down 2 or 3 runs. Great job. All right, let's go to the bottom of the third inning and see who's up next here for the White Sox. Next up for the White Sox, first baseman in the 9-hole, Timothy Elko. Batting second, back at the top of the order, 0 for 1, shortstop Chase Meadroth. And batting third, former Angel catcher Matt Theis. Let's go Mariners. And let's take a quick peek at the pitching stats up to this point. So coming into the game, Davis Martin was 2-4 with a ERA of 3.65. Let's see what his stats are now. 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 2 Ks, 42 pitches, 27 strikes, and his ERA is 3.61. And on the flip side, 3-3 record, ERA of 3.65, just like Martin. And let's see what we have with Castillo up to this point. 2 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 1 K, 32 pitches, and only 20 strikes. We need to get that strike number up. ERA is 3.51. I mean, we can afford for Luis to be a little wild once in a while, but not, inning after inning after inning. Because when that happens, bad things happen to the Mariners. And again, we already have 2 AAA pitchers in Emerson Hancock and Logan Evans. And I feel, the way that Logan Evans has been pitching lately, he had 1 road start that was terrible, 1 road start that was amazing, the last one, 2 good starts at home. Is it fair to say that I trust Logan Evans more than Luis Castillo? Like right now, Brian Wu is our ace, but I think I trust. I'm not saying that he ultimately is much, much better, but I'm just talking about right now, today. I think I trust Logan Evans more than Castillo. So if I was doing like the order, I would probably go Wu 1, and I'd go Logan Evans 2, and then probably Luis Castillo 3, and then I didn't really trust either one. You could go Bryce Miller 4,
and then Emerson Hancock 5. But Emerson has started to come around lately, and I just need to see a little bit more consistency. And Bryce Miller has looked terrible this year because he's got issues with his back as well as that elbow. And hopefully his mentals are going to be okay. But Bryce is normally one of the guys that you don't have to worry about like getting replaced. But if it really does come down to, Logan Gilbert 1, George Kirby 2 when they come back, Brian Wu 3, Castillo 4, I'm going Logan Evans over Bryce Miller and Hancock. And again, now if this was, a couple of years ago, I'm still going Bryce Miller. But this year in 2025, Miller is untrustworthy. And again, we have to wait till he gets healthy. And even if he does get healthy, he may not be as good as Logan Evans, at least so far at this point. Down goes Elko. Next up is Chase Meadroth, 1-1 pitch, and he gets a nice little single there to right. All right, Chase, I see you. Runner at first. Next up is Matt Theis. Bottom of the third with a runner at first, 1-0 Mariners from back-to-back hits from Williamson, J.P. Crawford, and Jorge Polanco. And hopefully we can get a nice double play here with Theis with a slow dribbler to JP and a throw to Rowdy to get the double play. Let's go. First pitch to Theis, inside at the knees, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking. Should have been called ball, but called strike like a foot off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Theis. Ump is giving him a little extra love here today. 1-1 pitch, low and away with a 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike from Castillo to Theis. 2-1 pitch, takes a strike looking on the line. 2 balls, 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. Castillo on the mound and Theis in the box. Castillo is just a little too wild for me. Like, again, I appreciate that he's better than he was in 2023 and 2024, and this is probably the best he's looked since, him coming in 2022. But still, he always tries to throw through the hitters, and a lot of the, location is like all over the place, inside, outside, and it's not just like a foot off the plate. Some of the pitches are like 5-10 feet off the plate. So, I hope that it'll get better, but we'll have to wait and see. Count now is full with that pitch inside. Tries to jam the hitter. And a 3-2 pitch. And Theis goes down swinging. There we go. That's the Castillo that I love. That's the La Piedra that I love. There we go, baby. Smoked him. Let's go, baby. Nice job, Luis. 2 away. Next up, third baseman, the former Dodger, 0 for 1, Miguel Vargas. Let's go, Luis. First pitch, 5 feet off the plate with that slider, 1-0 count. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Sounds like we just hit the 20 likes. Now we need 10 more to get 30, and we're still waiting for our first dono on our dono train. Obviously, we shoot for a hundo on every single stream. And congratulations to all of the individuals in the room that have been showing all the love and the support. We just got our 20,800 sub, and then we gained 2 more after that here today. So now we only need 98 more to hit 20,900. Shout out to the 3 new subs that we have acquired just during this stream. Appreciate you guys very, very much. And obviously the goal is to get to that 21,000 number. We're 198 away. 2-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking low in the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs and a runner at second. Bottom of the third, 1-0 Mariners. And it's like, I feel like with pitchers too, you can look at stats and you can look at analytics, but I also like to look at body language, swagger, aura, vibe. And, Logan Evans reminds me of Brian Wu, based on that aura and vibe. Vargas grounds out to third and we get out of the inning. Like, as soon as Brian Wu got called up, we felt something kind of different from him. And you could say the same thing about Bryce Miller. Like, you kind of felt like there was a different type of energy. You knew Logan Gilbert was great. You knew George Kirby was great. You didn't really know how good Wu or Miller were going to be, but they had the it factor. And I feel like Emerson Hancock, he doesn't have that. He's just going to be like that emergency guy that will fill in, like a substitute teacher when the teacher gets sick and you need someone to fill in. And again, he started off the year, giving up 6 runs in his first start, then got sent to AAA. His ERA was 81, got it, to 7, and then obviously we'll see what his ERA is now going into his next start. Somewhere in that 5 to 7 range is where he's, probably going to be for most of the season. But if you could get his ERA to like in the mid 4s, that would be the goal. But again, I really like what I see. It's not only just the goggles, it's a different type of swagger from Logan Evans. And, I hope that Bryce Miller gets better. I hope Emerson Hancock gets better. But if we want to have the best chance to win, it'll be Logan Gilbert 1, George Kirby 2, Brian Wu 3, Luis Castillo 4, and Logan Evans 5, in my opinion. End of the 3rd inning, 1-0 Mariners. Let's see who's up next here for Seattle. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting second, 0 for 1 left fielder, Randy Arozarena. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, first baseman, Rowdy Tellez. Megan with a 5er. Appreciate you. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. With a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We're at 5, 95 to go. And that is a no. I love it when people come in here and try to like act like this is their stream, making demands of what I need to do, like this is my channel, not some rando coming in and telling me what to, come on, man, be better. And plus, we've already went through this process to make it a good volume where we used to have it at volume 50 and we've had it at volume 35. So unless you end up having your volume full blast, even if you do, 35 is definitely a reasonable volume for anybody that's listening to the stream. Facts. Down goes big dumper. Hopefully we'll be able to get one going here the next time around. Next up is Randy Arozarena. First pitch is low and away to Randy. 1-0 count. And Megan with the 5er, you let me know what you want to do photo-wise, and I got you. Let's go, Randy. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Martin to Arozarena. In play, and Arozarena flies out to center, 2 away. Next up, first baseman, Rowdy Tellez. Because you got to understand, people think, oh, the music, it's not just for me. It's for the people that are in the room. I'm trying to be able to, give a certain type of vibe, instead of just hearing my voice and nothing else in the background. You may or may not be able to pick up, the baseball action, on my end here. But if you can't, it's nice to be able to have some smooth jams in the background. And plus, anytime you end up having someone that's a friend where they have dreams and goals, I'm going to support them. So, if they're going to be able to put the time and the effort to make the beats, then I'm going to display them. So first pitch to Rowdy Tellez, takes a strike looking, high and away, 0-1 count. And Rowdy Tellez fouls out to the catcher, and that is the end of the Mariners in the top of the 4th. Well, the channel is Northwest Sports Fanatics, but again, I did NW because, obviously for a channel that's really long, if I would have spelled out Northwest Sports Fanatics, so I abbreviated it. So that's what the NW obviously stands for, Northwest. And, whatever you want, people, will call the channel Northwest Sports Fanatics. They can comment in the room. NWSF was, obviously kind of the abbreviation, of the channel, Northwest Sports Fanatics, NWSF. You can call me O. You can call me Orion. There's a few nicknames that I go by and whatnot. But again, the other people in the room will kind of let you know. All right, let's go to the bottom of the fourth inning with the Seattle Mariners with a 1-0 lead. Let's see who's up next here for the White Sox. Next up for the White Sox, 0 for 1 center fielder, the best player on the team, Luis Robert Jr. Batting second, 1 for 1 right fielder, Joshua Palacios. And batting third, 0 for 1 DHing, Andrew Vaughn. Let's go Mariners. Plus, this is like my full-time job. You know, like I said, I've been full-time for 3-4 years now. I've been grinding for 13 years. This will be my 9th year on YouTube. Next year will be 14 years and my 10th year on YouTube. So again, you know, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears have been, you know, put into this channel and whatnot. And, you know, any type of support that we can get, likes, subs, views, donos, comments, shares, it's all appreciated. And again, this is something I plan on doing for the rest of my life. So 1-0 pitch, and Luis Robert Jr. grounds out to first, 1 away. Down goes Luis Robert Jr. Next up, right fielder Joshua Palacios. But I like the direction of where we're going right now. We gained another sub. That's a 4th sub today. Appreciate every single new sub that we've acquired, not only today, but you know, within the week, within the month, and within 2025, and as well as all of the OGs. 97 subs now to 20,900, 197 away from 21,000. First pitch inside from Castillo to Palacios, 4-seam fastball, 1-0 count. But I'll tell you, man, it's taken a lot of effort and energy. You know, this is not something that is for the faint of heart. You know, you really do got to, you know, grind it out. You know, we're over 4.2 million views, over 4.3 million views on the channel, you know, and again, even though I've been grinding at this, you know, channel for as long as I have, we still got a long ways to go. In my book, I'm only 1% into my journey, which sounds insane, but it's the truth. Bottom of the fourth, 1-0 Mariners, 2-2 pitch. High and away. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Castillo on the mound. Palacios in the box. And you know, the funny thing is about the people that usually end up being super demanding, you know, on the channel, you know, whether it's someone new or someone that's old, those are the people that don't sub, they don't view often, they don't share, they don't donate. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, coming in and being a troll and complaining, you know. I mean, there's plenty of negativity on YouTube, you know, and plenty of different streams out there, but you're not going to find it here. We shut that shit down real quick. Got to make sure we have at least one, you know, sports stream, you know, that isn't toxic. A lot of them out there, unfortunately, are. 3-2 pitch, and that is fouled off with the 4-seam fastball. And all it takes is really 1 or 2 bad people, you know, to ruin the whole vibe of a stream. And I know a lot of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Bottom of the fourth, 1-0 Mariners. Castillo on the mound, Palacios in the box. Count is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out and nobody on. I got you. Pitch fouled off. Tries to jam the hitter there. And 3-2 pitch. Strikes out looking. Let's go. 2 away. Down goes Palacios. Next up, 0 for 1, DHing Andrew Vaughn. First pitch, right down the middle, taking a strike, swinging. Big swing and a miss by Vaughn, 0-1 count. Go get your pickleball on. Trident's up. Bottom of the fourth, 1-0 Mariners. Castillo on the mound, Vaughn in the box. And again, a little bit lower scoring than maybe some people anticipated, but I kind of felt it was going to be like this, unless we ended up getting a couple homers within the first 2 innings. And down goes Vaughn. There we go, end of the fourth inning, 1-0 Mariners. Let's see if we can get a couple photos there for Megan real quick. I'll get you a couple Back to the Future photos, and then I'll get you a Bob Gale photo or two. Appreciate you. We're at 5:95 to go. Producer, co-writer, Bob Gale. If I can squeeze in one more for you. First pitch from Martin to Leody Taveras, low and away, 1-0 count. There he is. Appreciate you. Let's go, Leody. Let's get it going, baby. Nice. We have a lot of fans on the channel that are from Oregon or Washington. You know, not obviously just those two locations, but obviously being a Northwest, type of channel. But I do a little bit of everything, so it's not like I only do Northwest content. You know, I'm going to do, NFL games Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night. We'll do NBA and NHL from time to time with the Blazers and the Kraken or good matchups. We do WWE, we do NASCAR. There's not really anything that we don't typically do. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Martin to Taveras. Davis Martin wheeling and dealing, doing a pretty good job besides giving up back-to-back-to-back hits to Williamson, JP, and Polo to get that RBI to make it 1-0. But he's been pretty good. I mean, no big homers just yet. In play, and Taveras reached on first on a throwing error by third baseman Miguel Vargas, and he's safe. There we go. That's why it's always important to run hard to first. You never know when you might have an off throw by an infielder. Nice job, Leody. Next up, second baseman, Dylan Moore. Let's go, Dylan. Dylan is due for a homer or a big play. Now, JT from Washington, Reflect from Washington, Chris from Washington. And most people are in different cities too, which makes it kind of cool. You'll get some people in Seattle and Yakima, Tacoma, Vancouver. It kind of is all over the place, which is cool. And Demo flies out to center. Would have been a little bit more patient in the box. 1 away. Next up, third baseman, 1-for-1 with a run, Big Ben Williamson. The one that actually started our little rally a few innings ago. Let's go, Ben. First pitch from Martin to Williamson, low and at the knees. 1-0 count with that sinker. One-0 pitch. In the zone with a strike, with a sinker. 1 ball and 1 strike from Martin to Williamson. Captain, you like Arizona? Is it a little too dry for you there? I know you lived in Idaho, you said before too, so. 1-1 pitch. Takes a strike swinging low and away. Tries to get Williamson to bite, and he does. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first. And Tavares steals second. There we go. Nice job, Leote. Oh, wow. What part of Eastern Europe? Like what part of Europe specifically? Yeah, I got some friends that are from Chicago that visited Oregon and then never went back. Like went back and told their family they're going to move to Oregon, and they've been here ever since. So got to be careful of Chirac out there. I visited Chicago for work, a few years back, and they don't call it Chirac for nothing. I mean, there are some dangerous fucking places out there, that's for sure. But I got a chance to go to a Bulls game against the Warriors. Got to see, Wrigley, and obviously bar hopped when we were out there. Back in the day, people were extremely friendly for the most part. I was wearing green apple top to bottom. It was when Justin Herbert was still on the Ducks, and they were in the Pac-12 championship against the Utah Utes. I remember it, and people were pretty cool, over there. But there definitely are some dangerous areas for sure. Now they're reviewing to see if Leote is safe or not at second. Ukraine border, Poland, Bulgaria. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm part like Czechoslovakian, so like I'm part like European, and then part Japanese from like my mom's side, but my dad's side is like Czechoslovakian and a bunch of European countries. Throw a dart at a dartboard, and I'm probably a little bit of that. So kind of a unique blend of nationality, so to speak. Pitch is low and away. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Martin to Williamson. Count now is full. I mean, most of the places that I saw were pretty beautiful, but again, there definitely are some, you could say that for any state, but there definitely are some rough places that you would want to avoid if you could. And down go the Mariners here in the top of the 5th. All right, let's see what we can get going here in the bottom of the 5th inning with Luis Castillo. Let's see who's up next for the White Sox. Next up for the White Sox, 0 for 1 with a K, left fielder Austin Slater. Batting second, 0 for 1, the former Mariner, Hollywood Josh Rojas. And batting third, the first baseman in the 9-hole, Timothy Elko, 0 for 1. Let's go Mariners. Well, I don't live in Portland, so I don't have to worry about like the crime and, like I feel with me, I get along with pretty much, everyone. And like, I feel like homeless people don't bother me, like unless they're like trying to attack me, or they're like in my face, but I feel like there's a certain perception, of Portland from the media, with like Antifa and bums and homelessness and drugs and crime. Every state in America is going to have a rough city. I actually think Gresham is probably a little bit more suspect than Portland, but there definitely are parts of Portland that you would want to avoid. But there are some pretty beautiful places out there. Like I usually go out there when I go do a Blazer game with my buddy Justin, or when we hit the arcade and we go to the 2-story arcade ground control. They got lots of really good food out there as well. But just like any place, there are going to be some rough places that you may want to avoid. But I live in the burbs, so I don't really have the same type of issues that people live, in downtown Portland. So, and if I was like offered a free house or free place in Portland, I would decline. I would never in my life live in Portland. I'll live in, areas, outside of Portland. Like I'm probably 30 minutes outside of Portland and whatnot. So I'm far enough away where I don't have to really deal with a lot of the tension and drama that sometimes you hear about. So. O2 pitch and a big swing and a miss. Down goes Slater on 3 pitches. I like that one away. Next up, second baseman Hollywood Josh Rojas, the former Seattle Mariner, 0 for 1. First pitch from Castillo to Rojas. High and away on the line. Takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away, fouled off by Rojas. Behind the count now 0-2 for Luis Castillo. And even though Luis Castillo's pitches are kind of all over the place and sometimes he's a little wild, he hasn't given up anything. He hasn't really gotten himself into a jam. And again, this is the best version of La Piedra, Luis Castillo, we've seen since 2022. 0-2 pitch, 10 feet off the plate, high and away. Four-seam fastball, a little out of control there by Castillo. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. 1-2 pitch, high and away, wild pitch again. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Rojas. 2-2 pitch, high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Rojas. Yeah, Tigard isn't that bad. Tigard, Tualatin, that area, it's kind of like Beaverton. It's kind of like the burbs. You don't really have a whole lot of crime or a whole lot of bullshit that goes on like you see in Portland and Gresham. And Rojas grounds out to first. There we go, 2 away. Next up for the White Sox, first baseman, 0 for 1, Timothy Elko. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Where are we at, Captain, on the likes? Have we hit 30 yet? Hopefully we can get to the 40 to 50 range, before the stream ends. That's kind of the goal moving forward. 40 to 50 likes on every stream if we can get there. And then obviously 100 in the donos. We're at 595 to go. Let's go, Mariners. And once starting pitching goes out, we're going to have an inning in this game where we go for 1 to 4 runs. It's just a matter of time, but we may have to wait for the starters to go out, and it may happen, in the 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th. 6 more likes to 40. Okay, we're pacing well. All right, 6 more to 40. We've gained 4 subs. We only needed 1 sub coming into the stream to hit 20,900, right? Or 20,800, excuse me. And now we're slowly but surely progressing. We're at 20,803. 97 to go to 20,900. 197 to go to 21,000. That'll be exciting once we hit that 21,000 number. And Elko in play. Rounds out to second. Go to first. There it is. End of the 5th inning. Let's go to the top of the 6th. And we should start to be able to rake pretty soon here. White Sox fans throwing Sharpies at the Mariner players, huh? You ain't going to get an autograph that way. Next up, 1 for 2 with a K, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Batting second, 1 for 2 with an RBI, Jorge Polanco. And batting third, 0 for 2, Julio Rodriguez. Trident's up, baby. Let's go. And, even if we were to only win this game 1-0, I think any Mariner fan, we're going to take it. We scored 15 runs and only gave up 3 to the Padres. That was shocking, but it also would be shocking to win 1-0, or win 2-1 or 3-2 against a team that is 14-33. But at the end of the day, a win is a win. But I still feel that we're going to get more than 1 run. It's just a matter of time, especially when their bullpen comes in. Alec with a $5. I got you. Appreciate you so much. I didn't get your photo the last time around when you first donated because I think you left, but I got you. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. $5 holla from Alec. And it's always cool when we can get newbies that support like this. Appreciate you very, very much. And let me see what I can get here. And as far as like the tool artwork, like I'm going to throw up a couple examples and you can tell me if I'm in the right wheelhouse or not. And then I'll see what we got going on here. But it's always cool to be able to learn about new people, you know, on what they like, you know, and what they don't like, you know, what players that they, you know, root for, teams they root for. So are you talking like this? First pitch to J.P. Crawford, low and away. 1-0 count. And J.P. grounds out to the pitcher there, 1 away. I gotta get these photos loaded up. It's okay, J.P., we still love you. Next up, DHing Jorge Polanco, 1 for 2 with an RBI. Let's go, Polo. First pitch is high and away with the curveball, 1-0 count. And I got some Alex Gray on tap here. One-0 pitch, high and away, takes a strike looking out of the zone. Should have been probably 2 balls and no strikes to Polo, but now it's 1 ball and 1 strike. There's another one for you, Alex Gray. One pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Martin to Polo. Yeah, I didn't know if you were talking about like Tool as in the band or if there was something else, you know, Tool related, you know, artwork wise. I was going to kind of dive into more specifics with you, but. And down goes Polo, 2 away. And in play, Julio grounds out to second. Throw to first, and that is it for the Mariners here in the top of the 6th. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and I got to get you something swaggy here. All right, so now we know who your favorite band is. There we go. No problem, I got you. It's always interesting to learn, you know, what people like, you know, and again, everyone is so different. I'll get you one more. Get you one more from the dono that you had the first time around, but maybe didn't understand the process on what we do here. So I got you, my guy. Appreciate you. Let me delete those real quick and see if I can get one more from your previous dono. The Alex Gray artwork is very like psychedelic. It definitely kind of paints a picture, in your head when you look at it. Appreciate you. Next up for the White Sox, Chase Meadroff. Castillo still on the mound. First pitch, takes a strike, looking in the zone, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, fouled off with the slider. Behind in the count now, 0-2. We're in the bottom of the sixth, 1-0 Mariners. And if you're just tuning in, not a whole lot of action here today. Polo singled to right, Williamson scored, and that was in the top of the third. 3 hits apiece. White Sox also have an error, but we really haven't had anything big yet. No homers for either squad, but I do think the game will open up here in the next few innings, especially when the starters go out. Pitch fouled off. Count still remains 0-2 from Castillo to Chase Meadroff. 0-2 pitch, and Meadroff strikes out swinging. 1 away. Next up, the former Angel catcher, Matt Theis. 1 for 2 with a K. Anna in the building. What's good? Go Mariners. Trident's up. First pitch, takes a strike looking high and away. And the ump is definitely giving Castillo a little bit more favoritism, than what we're getting on the opposite side. There's stuff that's been, strikes that should have been balls and balls that should have been strikes. But again, it's not like it's really impacted either team. It's been pretty quiet. 3 hits apiece by both. But both pitchers have done pretty well, with all things considered, Davis Martin and Luis Castillo, with both ERAs of 3.65, and they're well below that number right now. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging. Big swing and a miss, behind in the count 0-2 from Castillo to Theis. 0-2 pitch, low and at the knees, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Theis. 1-2 pitch, high and away, 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour by Castillo. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the 6th, 1-0 Mariners. How are you? Two-two pitch, fouled off. 4-seam fastball. 96 miles an hour by Castillo. Still, wheeling and dealing. And again, it's kind of crazy because, since the bats haven't come alive, like it's kind of like a lackluster performance, by both teams hitting wise. But you do need to kind of give credit where credit is due, because if this was Luis Castillo, from last year or the year before, maybe we're down 4-0. Maybe we're down 5-1. So, we have to appreciate, the pitching when it's good, even though the bats haven't been able to help us, just yet. But for the White Sox to be at 0, yeah, I know that they're not a good team. They're 14-33. They're 9-12 at home. They're nothing like the Padres. But that doesn't mean if you take them for granted, that they can't punch you in the mouth and beat you. And Theis flies out to left, 2 away. Next up, third baseman, the former Dodger, Miguel Vargas. First pitch, low and away with a sinker, 95 miles an hour, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, inside at the knees, fouled off with the sinker, 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Vargas. Come on, Luis, finish strong, baby. 1-1 pitch, fouled off. Tries to jam the hitter inside. Count is 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and nobody on. Bottom of the 6th. Let's go Mariners. One-two pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Vargas. 2-2 pitch, fouled off with the slider by Vargas. Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on. Bottom of the 6th. And again, starting pitching, should be exiting the matchup. You would assume. Let's take a look at the pitch count. What's Martin at? Martin is at only 68 pitches. Holy cow. And Luis Castillo's at 84. So technically, even though the White Sox are down a run, he could almost go, a couple more innings, but I don't know what the strategy will be for the White Sox. I figured his numbers would be closer to Castillo's, but. And down goes Vargas. There we go. End of the 6th inning. Let's go to the top of the 7th and see who's up for the Mariners. And now we should start hopefully beginning to rake, depending on if they end up substituting Davis Martin for another pitcher or not. But Davis has been good, and Luis Castillo has been good today as well. Definitely a pitching duel. I don't think anyone had that on their scoreboard today. Next up, 0 for 2. Big dumper, catcher, Cal Raleigh. Batting second, 0 for 2, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, first baseman, Rowdy Tellez. Let's go, baby. Let's get some insurance. Yeah, salute Alec for being in the military. My dad was in the Air Force back in the day, so salute. Go Cal, torpedo bat engaged. We'll see how many homers that Cal ends up hitting, but I saw an article from one of the nerds, that covers the Mariners and stats and analytics, and said that, he's pacing right now based off his numbers for 55 homers and like 120 RBIs. Now he probably won't, hit those numbers, but it's kind of a nice thing to see, from our Mike Piazza, Pudge Rodriguez, in 2025, and to be able to have a guy playing just as well as Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani is pretty fucking amazing for the Seattle Mariners here in 2025. So, I think any fan for Seattle would be happy if Cal even just got to 40. He normally gets to 30 to 35 with not a torpedo bat, but with this torpedo bat from the left side and the right side, he should be able to minimum get to 40 this year. And if he doesn't get to 40, he'll probably be at like 38 or 39, but I think he's going to have a very good chance to get to 40 to 50 home runs. Now, if he gets to 50, he's definitely going to be in the MVP considerations, with Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, depending on where they're at that point in the season. So, but definitely it feels like the Mariners could make a run, a deep run in the playoffs this year. Tigers, Mariners, Yankees are all legit. 2-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking in the zone from Martin to Big Dumper. 2 balls and 1 strike. But Tigers, Yankees, Mariners are all legit in the American League. But then you got Mets, Phillies, Cubs, Dodgers, Padres, and Giants in the National League. National League is definitely better than the American League, no question. But, the Tigers, Yankees, and Mariners can match up with anybody in the National League and win. In play, and Cal Raleigh, Big Dumper, flies out to left, 1 away. Come on, Cal. Next up, 0 for 2, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Come on, Randy. First pitch to Randy Arozarena, fouled off with the cutter, 0-1 count. Let's go, Randy. Trident's up, baby. Four likes to 40. Let's get there. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We're going to be trying to shoot for 50 likes on the stream before the game ends. So 0-1 pitch in play, and Arozarena grounds out to third, throw to first, 2 away. Next up, 0 for 2 with a K, first baseman Rowdy Tellez. I mean, the last time that we actually had anybody that would even be in consideration for like 40 to 55 homers, that would be like, maybe Alex Rodriguez and like Ken Griffey Jr., back in the day. It's like every once in a while we'll have a guy like Richie Sexton that kind of comes out of nowhere and does good, or like Nelson Cruz, or like a Robinson Cano, but it typically isn't like consistent. Like, you might have one big year. Who knows if they're on, some fucking PEDs or, steroids or whatever. It seems like it's a pretty common thing. Obviously, we know Griffey didn't cheat, but obviously Alex Rodriguez did. Maybe not in Seattle, but after he left Seattle. Pitch is outside, 3-0 count from Martin to Tellez. But, even if Cal can get, 40 home runs, that would be huge. And if he gets 40, he may be able to do that on like a regular basis. Get 40 to 50 home runs almost every year. And then a low year for him would be like maybe 35 if he can hit that pinnacle and climb the mountain. But, he's pretty much good for 30 to 50 almost every year. But if he ended up hitting 50 plus, that would be pretty fucking magical. I mean, if Cal hit 50, 55 homers, we probably would be in the World Series. Or at least the ALCS, at the very least. 3-1 pitch, and that's a walk to Rowdy. We'll take the walk. Next up, right fielder, Leody Taveras. 0 for 2. Let's go, Leody. You can end up getting a base hit here. Davis Martin still wheeling and dealing out there, and really only had one little hiccup where he gave up back-to-back hits, 3 hits in a row, and then Polo got the RBI to get Williamson to come home. But other than that, that's pretty much it. It's been pretty quiet today. First pitch, inside, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. And Taveras flies out to left. We leave one stranded. Let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning. See who's up next for the White Sox. Next up for the White Sox, 0 for 2 center fielder Luis Robert Jr. Batting second, 1 for 2 with a K, right fielder Joshua Palacios. And batting third, 0 for 2, DHing Andrew Vaughn. I'm going to get my pup some dinner, so just give me 1 sec, and I'll be right back. Let's go Mariners. All right, I'm back. Got her some little dinner, some fresh water. Yeah, I'm a big Ichiro guy as well. Like I said, I'm a big Ken Griffey Jr. guy. Obviously, meeting him when I was extremely young, being first grade and 7 years old. And, when you end up having a moment like that, it changes your life forever. I mean, out of anybody that you could meet, in the Pacific Northwest, Clyde Drexler, Ken Griffey Jr., Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, those were like pretty big names back then, but Griffey and Drexler were the biggest. And, luckily I was able to, get the auto, still have all the photos and whatnot. And, I love Edgar. I love Randy Johnson. I love Ichiro. Really, the only star that I, don't really appreciate and don't care for is Alex Rodriguez. But other than that, love Jay Buhner. Even some of the role players that we only had for a short period of time, like Tino Martinez and John Olerud. Love those guys. So, but love me some Ichiro. First pitch from Castillo to Palacios. 0-1 count. And Robert flied out to left, thank God, on the previous at-bat. One away. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging at the knees. Behind in the count 0-2 to Joshua Palacios. 0-2 pitch from Castillo to Palacios. High and away, four-seam fastball. 95 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes for Luis Castillo. Castillo still in the matchup here in the 7th, and he's just about to approach 90 pitches. So by the time he gets out of this inning, it'll probably be just under 100. And since our bullpen has been shaky, probably smart to continue to have him out there. He hasn't really shown any flashes of weakness. So 1-2 pitch, fouled off. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, if Castillo ends up giving up 3 runs or more, then I'd be like, oh, we cannot have him pitch in the 7th inning. But the score is 1-0. He's been in firm control the whole game. Hasn't had a fuck up yet, and hopefully he won't. Palacios flies out to center, 2 away. Next up for the White Sox, 0-2, DHing Andrew Vaughn. Let's go La Piedra. How are you? Hope you enjoyed your birthday. Bottom of the 7th, 1-0 Mariners. Castillo still in the game here in the 7th, and Andrew Vaughn in the box. First pitch fouled off by Andrew Vaughn, 0-1 count. Bottom of the 7th, 1-0 Mariners. Luis Castillo on the mound. Andrew Vaughn in the box. 0-1 pitch and lined out to left. And that's the end of the 7th inning. And that's kind of been the story. We haven't had any home runs. There hasn't really been any really big rallies. The biggest thing in the game was back-to-back hits by Ben Williamson, J.P. Crawford, and Jorge Polanco, just single. And that brought in the 1 run, there in the 3rd inning. But other than that, it's been extremely quiet here today. But hopefully the bats will come alive here in the 8th and the 9th. And if they don't, and we end up winning 1-0, you're not going to hear me complain one bit. But I would like for us to get to that 3 or 4, range if we could. But, we'll see what the pen looks like from the Mariners, and we'll see what the pen looks like from the White Sox, and that could really be the difference. What a catch by Randy Arozarena there in left field. Great job on that last out. Defense stepping up. 3 hits apiece from each team. 1 error from the White Sox, but the Mariners have the 1-0 lead. Next up for the Mariners, 0-2, second baseman Dylan Moore. Let's go, Demo. You're due for a homer, baby. Batting second, the guy that got the rally started in the 3rd. 1-2 with a run. Third baseman, stud, Ben Williamson. And batting 3rd, 1-3 with a K, shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Let's go, Crawd Daddy. Let's get it done, baby. All right, well, let's see where we're at. We're 1 like away from 40. We're 11 likes away from 50, the goal for the stream. So if you're in the room and haven't smashed that like button just yet, do your boy a solid. It'd be greatly appreciated. 1 more to 40, 11 more to 50. We should be able to get that. We gained quite a few subs. We only needed 1 sub to get to 20,800. We got 4. just in this stream alone. Now we only need 97 to go to be able to hit 20,900. Shout out to all the newbies and all the OGs. And it looks like Martin will still be out there in the 8th inning possibly. I mean, he's only had 81 pitches in 7 innings. That's rare. Let's look at pitching numbers here real quick. All right, so for Davis Martin, 2-4 record with a 3.65 ERA coming in, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 2 Ks, 81 pitches, 50 strikes, ERA down to 3.36. And then for Luis Castillo, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 5 Ks, 94 pitches, 64 strikes, and then he's got an ERA of 3.20. So it brought that down from 3.65. Nice job, Luis Castillo. And they were obviously reviewing to see if Randy actually caught it out there in left field, and he did. I appreciate you. You're doing a great job. You know, it's like we definitely need, you know, 1 or 2 people to help, you know, with the likes and the subs and the donos, you know, throughout the streams. And I appreciate you very much, my guy. Loyalty is rare nowadays. All the good luck charms have to come out now. And I got the last one. First pitch from Martin to Moore. It's crazy. Martin's pitching 8 innings. But again, the game is only 1-0. Let's go, Mariner Moose. Normally we have you up when we're tied or when we're down, but we can have you out, you know, when we're up by 1. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging. Big swing and a miss by Demo. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Martin to Moore. And Martin has pitched 8 innings. But again, it's definitely been a pitcher's duel. But this will be the last inning that he'll pitch, and we'll see if he ends up completing the 8th or if we can knock him out and bring someone in from the pen. 1-2 pitch, cutter, fouled off. Nice souvenir for a fan there. 1 ball and 2 strikes here in the top of the 8th. 1-0 Mariner lead against the White Sox. I don't think anyone anticipated this being such a low-scoring affair or being a pitcher's duel. You know, after scoring 15 runs in 3 games against the Padres, and the Padres only scoring 3, and we got the brooms like Harry Potter and swept their ass. But again, different team, different aura, different location, and a different vibe. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Martin on the mound and Moore in the box. Come on, Demo. And Dylan Moore strikes out looking. 1 away. Next up, third baseman, Big Ben Williamson. Let's go, Ben. I don't care how we have to do it. Maybe even him dropping a bunt right here, like doing something out of the ordinary. And then if you drop a bunt here and successfully do it, you know, this could be the rally point. And I'm not saying that that would be the only way Ben can get a hit. He can obviously just get a nice little single and whatnot. Not really a home run hitter. He's more of just a contact hitter. But you got to find any kind of way to manufacture something, because everything that you did up to this point, besides that 3rd inning by Williamson, JP, and Polo, has been, you know, not really non-existent. So, and he hasn't really hit a whole lot of guys. He hasn't walked a lot of guys. Both pitchers have been pretty clean today. 1-0 pitch, low and away with that slider again. 2-0 count to Ben Williamson. Maybe this will be a walk. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking low and in the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike from Martin to Williamson. Let's go, Big Ben. You're the one that got the rally started in the 3rd. Let's go. Pitch is high and inside. 3 balls and 1 strike from Martin to Williamson. Maybe this will be a walk from Davis Martin. Come on, baby. Find a way. Yeah, Matt's just here to kind of support the channel and just kind of hang out with the people in the room. And Williamson singles to center. There we go. He's more Oregon Ducks like myself, and obviously Denver Broncos and NFL fans. So some people, will come through just to kind of hang out, even if they, don't really follow the sport that I'm doing. Like if I do, hockey, or if I do NBA or NASCAR or WWE, some people are going to be into those things. I feel like wrestling and WWE and NFL and college football are probably the easiest to watch. If you're a fan of the NBA, MLB, NHL, NASCAR, that's a little bit more of a smaller niche group, that likes those things. Nice job by Ben to get the rally started. Let's see what we got here from JP Crawford. Let's go, JP. Bring that electricity, baby. And I think you're going to have a pitching change now. Finally, they knock him out of the game. All it took was a single by Williamson, but man, hey, he might not be on our team, but that was a pretty fucking impressive pitching performance considering we put up 15 runs, on the Padres. This team is nowhere near the skill set of the Padres. And Davis Martin, he looked phenomenal. He looked like he was 4-2, not 2-4, and ERA of 3.65. He was solid. And again, they just couldn't get anybody going. And obviously, if you look at their lineup, there's not really a whole lot there. All right, Chase Meadroff, right? Matt Thaiss, Miguel Vargas. I mean, this is your best player in Luis Robert Jr., but he can't do it all, right? And obviously, if they had Andrew Benintendi playing, that would have given him, another oomph in the lineup, a little bit of a lift, but he's injured. So, all right, let's see who they bring in, and hopefully this will be the moment where we start raking. They're going to bring in, Boozer? All right, we'll see what happens here. Let's go, JP. Let's go, baby. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. You haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 50 likes before the stream ends. Mariners up 1-0. And again, we're trying to continue our win streak because it's not going to get any easier. Obviously Astros are going to be up next. So we're going to be streaming, quite a few days in a row. Pitch from Boozer to Crawford, high and away, 2-0 count to JP. Let's go. This may be where the game opens up here. And obviously this pitcher has no control, and this might end up being the inning where we get 1, 2, 3, 4 runs. Pitch is high and away, 3-0 count. JP always going to have a green light on 3-0, but if you're smart, you just don't have an ego and you just don't swing. Because if you go 3-0, what are the chances of him hitting 3 strikes after that? Not likely. He might be able to get a strike here on the 4th pitch, and then the 5th pitch will be the ball, unless he's just really incredibly wild where, he ends up getting 4 straight. But typically when you get 3-0, that next pitch is a strike, and there it is. 3 balls and 1 strike, but the next one is the ball. My ESP is on point. There we go. You call it how you see it. First 3 pitches are balls. They get the cheap strike. Next one is a ball. When a pitcher is wild, that's exactly what they do. And now we got JP at first, and I love it. Big Ben at second, JP at first. This is a similar situation that we had in the 3rd inning where we actually got our 1 run. Let's see if Polo can get another RBI or, even better, a 3-run homer. But instead of Polo, they go with the pinch hitter, Mitch Garver. I hate when we end up doing that, where we end up having a pitcher that is a righty, then you bring in a lefty, and the player that is due up did something special, and you're like, nah, let's just bring in someone else. But I guess Mitch Garver is better than bringing in Donovan Solano. But I hate this mentality of just because the guy is a left-handed hitter or left-handed pitcher, a left-handed hitter can't fucking do it? Like, that's ridiculous. Polo would give us a better chance of getting an RBI or a homer than Garver. But in a lot of these situations where you bring in a righty and then a lefty, and then you switch it up, and Polo is a switch hitter, but he's not comfortable, from that right side due to his injury. So he usually is just going to hit from the left side until he's 100%. But when we've had this happen in the past, we were like, no. But then Garver ended up getting like an RBI or a single, 4 times than not. So we'll see if this is a maneuver that is smart by Dan Wilson, or if it's one of those idiot moves that reminds us of Scott Service from back in the day. But I would say 3 out of the 4 times when Dan does this, it typically works, even though it's kind of frowned upon by not only fans, but by myself. But we'll see how it goes here. But I definitely trust Polo against a fucking left-handed pitcher more than Garver. Christ. Runners at first and second in the top of the 8th with 1 out. Garver in the box. First pitch low and at the knees. 1-0 count from Boozer to Garver. I mean, the best case scenario maybe for Garver, don't fucking swing, and let's see if we can get a walk. 1-0 pitch, fouled off in the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Mitch Garver. Now, if Mitch really wants to get everyone rowdy, you go fucking yard here, and you go for a 3-run homer to make it 4-0. But the chances of Garver hitting a home run here is probably, 10%? It's not very likely. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 1 out and runners at first and second. Come on, Mitch. And Garver with the single to left. Crazy, when Polo should be up. And I swear to God, Dan finds these certain players, at least it wasn't Solano, but again, Garver has actually stepped up in those moments more times than not. That might be the 4th time out of 5 where he actually has gotten a hit for Polo late in the game. Surprising? Yes, but again, anytime that something positive happens for the Mariners, we're going to take it. Dan Wilson, man, you are a gutsy motherfucker, let me tell you. Next up, 0 for 3 with bases loaded, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. And it's not like, substituting Polo for Mitch is going to work out every time. But more times than not this year it has, for whatever weird reason. Uh-oh, there it is. Julio, back. See ya! Julio Rodriguez, grand salami. The game is over. 5-0. Mariners. Williamson scored. Crawford scores. Garver scores. Trident's up. Woo! Let's go! Wow, there it is. And that's, maybe they should have just went, with their starting pitcher the whole game, right? With Davis Martin. As soon as you ended up bringing in the Boozer, hey, they got us fucking drunk today. 5-0 Mariners. Let's go, Julio. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Julio, oh, baby. Next up, Big Dumper. We got to see if we can get Cal on the board here. Let's go, Cal. Can you be like Julio? Let's get it, baby. Trident's up. Pitch fouled off. 0-2 count from Boozer to Raleigh. 0-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. That's how you open the game up, baby. Grand salami. Ana. Buenos dias, buenos tardes, buenos noches, vamos maneros. And when the game was 1-0 for all that, time, it was just a matter of time before their bullpen fucked up. And there it is. Down goes Cal Raleigh. Next up is Randy Arozarena. Let's go, Randy. Another guy that was due for a homer, got one yesterday. Can you get one here? And Be like Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, baby. Trident's up. Let's go. That's our superstar, damn right. How are you? He straight hit you with the yippee. Lots of yippee moments. Maybe not from this game until right there, but we'll take it. Better late than never. Trident's up. And again, just that, that decision to have Polo, because obviously they don't feel comfortable him switch hitting on the right side with his injury. And then again, as long as it's not Donovan Solano, but again, it's not like Garver's batting 300. Normally Garver's hovering around, 180 to 200, right? And he's got his batting average up to 225 now. And again, I don't like seeing a guy that did something good, like hit a home run or get a nice RBI, and then all of a sudden get replaced, after doing something good at the previous at bat. But for whatever reason, Mitch Garver is kind of clutch in that situation. We've actually seen him get a hit, RBI, not really homers this year, but we've actually seen him get a single or an RBI or get walked, or something positive, and more times than not in that scenario. And then the next guy up, Julio Rodriguez, see you later, grand salami, get the mustard and rye bread. Boozer, you need to go hit the showers. Thank you for bringing him in. And again, just think, if they would have stuck with their pitcher throughout the whole 8th inning, that whole situation probably doesn't happen. Now, maybe we end up scoring a couple, but we don't get to that point, obviously, with Davis Martin. He was wheeling and dealing. They should have just let him finish the 8th, and maybe they would be down 3-0. But they decided to, pull him. And it's not natural for a guy to be pitching all 9 innings. This isn't fucking the 80s with Nolan Ryan back when I was a kid. And I get that. But for the game being 1-0, and both pitchers, Luis Castillo and Davis Martin, doing well, it took a shitty guy from the pen, Boozer, to come in. And again, Ben Williamson, JP, Garver, and then Julio Rodriguez, making us remember why Julio is Julio. 5-0 Mariners. Trident's up. Let's fucking go. Let's go, baby. Love it. Now they're making a pitching change. A little too late for that. Cal with an off night, but he should be able to bounce back, either tomorrow or Wednesday. And again, if he doesn't homer, in the series, he will homer against the Astros. And now Gomez is coming in for Boozer. Second career grand slam for Julio. Better late than never, and we needed it. Beautiful swing, beautiful follow through, and he knew it was gone as soon as it hit his bat. Beautiful. First pitch home runs this season. Seattle Mariners 20, number 1 in MLB. Angels and Dodgers with 18 apiece. What about the Angels sweeping the Dodgers 3 straight? It's pretty crazy. You never know what you're going to get out of teams. Even when you have one team that's heavily favored. And Arozarena strikes out looking. We had one good game from Randy yesterday, kind of back to his old ways. But again, at least Julio was able to get that grand salami, second in his career. And let's go to the bottom of the 8th inning with a nice, comfortable 5-0 lead. And Julio has been great all May. Again, he traditionally struggles in March and April, and that's happened to him every year in his career. And then all of a sudden May comes around, and May, June, July, August, September, he's hot. And hopefully he'll be hot in October when we win the division and we're in the playoffs. Bring on the Yankees, bring on the Tigers, bring on anybody. Let's go. Let's see who's up next here in the bottom of the 8th for the White Sox. Next up for the White Sox, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, left fielder Austin Slater. Batting second, the former Seattle Mariner. Second baseman, 0 for 2, Hollywood Josh Rojas. And batting third, 0 for 2, first baseman Timothy Elko. I imagine Rojas is probably wishing he was still on the Mariners, just like Vargas was wishing that he was still on the Dodgers. But, you know, sometimes you got to be able to improve the position. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Reflect in the building. What's good? We're at 3, and that puts us at 13. Let's go. 87 to go. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks. Little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you. Let me know what you want to do photo-wise, or we can wait till the end of the stream. So just a quick review for anybody that is just tuning in. So the game was very, very low scoring. It was a pitcher's duel, you know, from Luis Castillo as well as Davis Martin. And Davis Martin, 2-4 record, 3.65 ERA. Luis Castillo, 3-3 record, same ERA, 3.65. But we had back-to-back hits, starting off with Ben Williamson in the third, then JP, and then Polo. That led to an RBI, 1-0 Mariners. And then absolutely nothing until the 8th inning. And then Julio got a grand salami, second of his career, homer to left, 365 feet. Williamson scores. Crawford scores. Garver pinched hit for Polo. He got on base. And then Julio brought it home. And now we're sitting at a 5-0 lead when just a couple minutes ago it was 1-0. God, I love this team. Best team we've had since 2001. Big facts. Now they're having a pinch hitter here. Cuero coming in. Cuero coming in for Slater. Edgar's coming in. Colin Snyder entering the matchup. Pitch fouled off. 1 ball and 2 strikes for Colin Snyder to Edgar Cuero. Got to get the Edgar photo loaded here. Cuero. Got the photo up in time. And Cuero strikes out swinging. 1 away. Next up, the former Seattle Mariner, 0 for 2, Hollywood Josh Rojas. Yeah, it was a pitcher's duel, man. It was, even though Castillo was more wild, on his end, he didn't really have that moment where he loaded the bases or gave up back-to-back hits or walked 3 guys in a row or gave up that big home run to put us in a hole. It was one of those games where I feel like at the end of the day, we'll be talking about the Julio Grand Salami, but we need to be able to talk about how good Luis Castillo has been pitching in 2025, especially since Kirby and Gilbert have been injured and Bryce Miller as well. So, and Miller wasn't really good when he was playing. So, I can't wait to be able to see what we get out of Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock. George Kirby and Logan Gilbert are getting very, very close to coming back. But Castillo has been very good in 2025. And again, if he wasn't good this year, we would be definitely not where we're at record-wise, especially with Miller, Gilbert, and Kirby all, on the IL. 1-2 pitch to Josh Rojas from Snyder, fouled off. 1 ball and 2 strikes, bottom of the 8th, nobody on, 5-0 Mariner lead. 1-2 pitch, tries to jam the hitter at the knees with the slurve, slider curve combo, and that goes foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 1 out and nobody on. 5-0 Mariner lead. Trident's up. Yeah, they've been on fire. We got them pretty soon, so. Man Adventures with the $2 holla. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. With a little Cactus Jack bang bang. Let me know what you want to do for a photo if you got a favorite player, and I got you. Same thing with you, Reflect. Every dollar counts, and we only needed 1 sub to be able to hit 20,800 coming into the stream. And Rojas strikes out swinging. We've got 4 subs today. So now we're at 20,803, 97 to get to 20,900, 197 to get to 21,000. Let's go. Hollywood Rojas got his nickname back when, he was in Little League. And, there was a few different, nicknames that they wanted to give him, J-Ro, and obviously we already have J-Rod, so he didn't want to go by J-Ro, so he wanted to have something a little bit different, and, just something that he had when he was a kid, and it kind of stuck, so. And anytime I end up doing the research, watching any type of, pre-game Mariner program or any type of interview, based on the players, but even if it's a nickname from Little League, I try to dig deep and to be able to inform the fans and, give them something that maybe they wouldn't know right offhand. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Snyder to Elko. 1-1 pitch. In the zone, takes a strike looking. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody on, 2 outs, and a 5-0 lead for the Mariners with a grand salami with the mustard and rye bread, Julio Rodriguez. Pitches outside with that sinker. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Timothy Elko. Let's go, baby. Pitch fouled off, low and away. Bottom of the 8th, 5-0 Mariners. And, at one point it looked like, that maybe the White Sox would have that pitcher go 8 innings. He definitely had a low pitch count. And we weren't really helping, the team out hitting-wise, besides that 3rd inning with back-to-back hits. But, again, that's how baseball goes. It's 2 separate games. It's like the first 6 innings with the starters, and if they go a little bit longer, and then once the starters go out, the game resets. And then, you have to kind of wait and see and hope that your bullpen isn't the one that fucks up. And in play, and Elko pops out at first, and that's the end of the 8th inning. Let's go to the top of the 9th and see if we can get a little bit more insurance. Let's see if we can get to 6 runs. I got you. Appreciate you. Go to the top of the 9th. Let's see if we can get one more run. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Let's see if we can try to get to 50 likes before this game ends. Appreciate all the newbies and the OGs that have liked, sub, donated, commented, shared. Again, and as this is like the first year where we feel like this team is incredibly special since 2022. So again, the better that the Mariners do, the better that we're going to do, here on the channel, not only from Fairweather bandwagon Mariner fans, but people that are doing parlays either for the Mariners or against the Mariners. It's going to be a very, very special time on this channel, especially if the Mariners continue to excel year in and year out, which I believe they will. Rowdy Tellez in the box. Pitches outside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gomez to Tellez. Let's go, Rowdy. Top of the 9th, 5-0 lead with a grand salami by your favorite MLB player, Julio Rodriguez. Nice job, baby. Trident's up. We've been waiting. and you fucking delivered. Let's go, Rowdy. 1-1 pitch. Low and at the knees with a sweeper. 86 miles an hour by Gomez. 2 balls and 1 strike from Gomez to Tellez. Let's go, Rowdy. Yeah, I got quite a few Ichiro rookie cards, memorabilia pieces and whatnot. My dad actually gave me an autographed photo through PSA, over the holidays. So that's like the only piece that I have that's authenticated. I don't have any Ichiro autos on cards or anything like that. But the photo is pretty badass, and it's through PSA, so pretty cool. In play. And Rowdy flies out to center, 1 away. Next up, 0 for 3, right fielder, Leody Taveras. Let's go, Leody. Drop the bunt down, surprise him.
Oh my gosh.
First pitch, high and away with the 4-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, fouled off right down the middle from Gomez to Leody Taveras. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. 5-0 Mariner lead here in the top of the 9th. I actually went to the last game where, he was in a Mariner uniform before he got traded to the Yankees. In play, and Leody Taveras flies out to right, 2 away. But definitely a 1 of 1. You're never going to see another Ichiro ever again. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 3 with a K, second baseman today, Dylan Moore. First pitch, takes a strike swinging. Big swing and a miss with that sinker from Gomez. 0-1 count. Top of the 9th, 5-0 Mariner lead with 2 outs and nobody on. Let's go, Demo. And all the way to the wall by Taveras there. Just needed a little bit more wind to carry that baseball. But it falls in play there in the dirt. We'll see what we get here from Dylan Moore. 0-1 pitch. And a nice single by Demo. There you go. And again, even when you're 0 for 3, you have focus. You can still grind it out at the end of the matchup. Nice job by Demo by not going 0 for 4. Good job. Next up, a guy that's been starting each rally for us in the 3rd and in the 8th, third baseman, Ben Williamson. Let's see if Ben can get a single here. First pitch to Ben Williamson from Gomez, sinker low at the knees, 1-0 count. Let's go, Big Ben. Got a rocket for an arm at 3rd, and he's a good hitter in the box. Obviously, he has cooled off a little bit since he had his debut from the Tacoma Rainiers, but starting to kind of heat up again. Slowly but surely. 1-0 pitch. Fouls that one off. Tries to jam the hitter there at the hips. 1 ball and 1 strike from Gomez to Williamson.
Oh my gosh.
1-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking in the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Gomez to Williamson. Yeah, well, you may have to, Matt, you may have to update your resume, try to find a new template for a resume and, rewrite it and whatnot. Even if you don't have a whole lot of job experience, sometimes just the layout of your resume, the font and what it looks like and, the spacing and what you have written down, that can definitely affect, somebody calling you or not calling you, especially if there's a lot of people, going for the same type of job. You have to be able to stand out, and not in a fake way, just trying to be a little bit different in a unique way. Pitches low and away. Now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Gomez to Williamson. And I can't speak, on how the job market is in Hawaii compared to Oregon. It's going to be completely different and whatnot. But, if you're not getting a whole lot of calls back, you may want to try to reformat, your resume. And there's plenty of free resume templates that are out there. You just need to search on Google and you'll be able to find one. And then some companies just have too many people applying, So if that's the case, you got to be able to stand out in a positive way. Some are going to be just through online, some are going to be in person. Keep grinding, my guy. 3-2 pitch. And Big Ben Williamson reached on an infield single to third. Demo to second. Here we go. We got another rally going. Demo with a hit to prevent himself from going 0 for 4. 1 for 4. Nice job. Big Ben Williamson has been the star today, besides Julio Rodriguez. Next up, 1 for 3 with a run, base on ball, and a K. Shortstop, J.P. Crawford. We get a 3-run jack from J.P. or a 2-run RBI from J.P. Crawford, 2-run RBI double. You never know. No problem. Appreciate you. First pitch outside with the changeup, 1-0 count from Gomez to Crawford.
Oh my God.
1-0 pitch, high and outside with a sinker. 2 balls and no strikes from Gomez to Crawford. Two-0 pitch, high and inside. 3 balls and no strikes from Gomez to Crawford. I mean, yeah, for me, my jobs before I started doing this full time, I did phone sales for 20 years for big companies, and then I did warehouse jobs in between if I ever had a break where, sales was just driving me too crazy, where I just needed a break from my mental health. Warehouse jobs are usually pretty cool, and you can meet some pretty cool people at warehouse jobs. Sometimes the labor is tough, and that's a 4-pitch walk to JP. Bases loaded, baby. And normally this would be Polo up next, but then they brought in Mitch Garver. Top of the 9th, 5-0 Mariner lead. Bullpen really hitting a wall here with Gomez and with Booza. Let's go Mariners. All right, Mitch, is it time for a grand salami for Mitch Garver as well? I believe Mitch only has 1 homer on the year. And hell, one of the last times Mitch homered, we had this photo. It's been a minute. First pitch, takes a strike looking in the zone. 0-1 count. Top of the 9th, 5-0 Mariner lead. But hell, we don't even need Mitch to go for a grand salami. That would just be icing on the cake after Julio got it. That's best case scenario, 9-0 Mariners. But even if he gets an RBI single here to get us to 6, that would be a huge success. We wanted to be able to score as many as possible and not leave, runners stranded. But we'll see how this all plays out. Takes another strike looking. Mitch, swing, damn it. Now behind in the count 0-2. If he just would have swung at any of those first 2 pitches, maybe the score is 6-0 or 7-0. I mean, I get it that they just walked JP 4 straight balls, but come on. Come on, Miach. Yeah, and Garver ended up, pinch hitting for Polo and ended up getting us, on base and whatnot. And he's been good in that situation. I believe it's like 4 out of the last 6 times that they've done that, he's gotten at least like a single or like an RBI. So, a lot of times when Polo's doing well and then, they bring in a lefty and then they have to bring in Garver, it's better than bringing in Solano, but Garver has been good when he's been called upon late in games. Pitches outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Gomez to Garver. Come on, Garv. And in play, and Garver flies out to right. We leave 3 stranded, but hey, we still have a 5-0 lead, so we can't complain about that. Garver's not going to, be a clutch hitter every single time, but he was a part of that grand salami and getting on base, so we got to give him the love. He's not going to be able to do it every single time, but it would have been sweet if we could have gotten to 6 or 7, but we're still at 5-0, so we can't complain. Hell, I would have been happy with a 1-0 win today based on how things happened, but Julio made sure that we got to 5, so I'm very grateful. All right, let's see who's up next here in the bottom of the 9th, and last-ditch opportunity here for the White Sox. Next up for the White Sox, leading off, 1 for 3 with a K, shortstop Chase Meadroth. Batting second, the former Angel, 1 for 3 with a K, catcher Matt Thaiss. And former Dodger, 0 for 3, third baseman Miguel Vargas. Let's go Mariners. All right, Taylor coming in. We'll see what Troy does. Yeah. Well, for us, again, we're not going to be, ruthless and, talking shit, unnecessarily left and right, like some channels do. We definitely respect the other team, more than any other channel. But again, after what happened to us against the Blue Jays and getting swept and then only winning 1 out of 3 against the Yankees, and then we swept the Padres, we're just trying to keep the good vibes going. So it's nothing ever going to be personal towards you, or even really the White Sox. It's just, we're just trying to win. You got to think this is the best team that we've had in 24 years. It's not like we make the playoffs every year. We had a 20-year drought and we made it in 2022 and then missed it by a game or 2 in the last 2 years. So, when we want to get to 6 or 7, it's not trying to be dirty and rub it in. We're just trying to do it for our sake, not for your sake, and trying to rub it in. But we'll see what happens here with Troy Taylor. He hasn't been very good since we brought him up from AAA, and it seems like that's going to continue. 3-0 count from Taylor to Meadroth. Come on, Troy. You might have to send your ass back to AAA. Takes a strike looking. 3 balls and 1 strike from Troy Taylor to Meadroth. And Meadroth with a walk. Take Troy out. He already got a walk in his first batter. Take him out. I've already seen enough. What is it? Eventually, if you keep him in, it's going to end up being a 5-1 game. Or worse. Next up, catcher Matt Thaiss. Yeah. But at least the Pope is a White Sox fan. And again, we'll see what the roster looks like moving forward. Obviously, if you still had Crochet on the team and if Benintendi wasn't hurt, maybe the team is a little bit better. But at least you're not the worst team in baseball like the Rockies. So at least you have that going. Pitches outside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Taylor to Thaiss. Yeah, they definitely missed the strike call at that first at bat from Taylor, but still, he's all over the place. 1-1 pitch. Pitch is low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Taylor to Theis. 2-1 pitch. Four-seam fastball inside. Tried to jam the hitter at the knees. 3 balls and 1 strike from Taylor to Theis. And Troy is all over the place because if you remember when we first brought him up, late last year, he would always get ahead of the count 0-2, or maybe, 1-1. Now it's like, a lot of counts that are 2-0, 3-0. He's walking guys, he's giving up homers and hits, and, he just doesn't look like the same guy that we had last year. Takes a strike looking outside of the zone. That was kind of a makeup call there by the ump. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes with a runner at first and no outs. And again, if we keep him in for this whole 9th inning, it's going to be like that one game where we should have won 5-0, but we ended up giving up that run late in the 9th. It's like if we have a shutout, I want to keep the shutout. And a win is a win. I get it, and there's another walk. Pull him. Back-to-back walks. Get rid of him. Go, 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 go. Hit the showers, Taylor. See ya. I mean, what else do we need to see? You ain't it, my guy. You keep him in, this is going to end up leading to a 3-run homer, and then what? We're going to win 5-3? Like, way to, ruin Luis Castillo's start, by bringing in a guy that shouldn't even be in right now. We want to make sure our pitchers feel good after the game ends, not like, oh, this motherfucker blew it at the end. We could have had a 5-0 win and gave up a big 3-run homer at the end of the game. Come on. Should have never brought him in to begin with. Bottom of the 9th, runners at first and second with no outs. Guy can't hit the strike zone worth anything. Yeah, MLB rules, three batters. Oh, he stinks. What's Woodworth going to say? Bro, you can't hit the strike zone. We need to send you back to AAA. You are not ready. I do not trust you whatsoever. And now Taylor has a pitch that's borderline in the zone called ball. I mean, you have Taylor come in there, he's going to make everyone look like a goddamn all-star. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking from Vargas. 1 ball and 1 strike from Taylor to Vargas. I want Luis Castillo to feel good about himself after, playing awesome, in the matchup. I don't want to see, I get it, a win is a win, but it's like, again, when you have a chance to get a shutout, get it. Those don't come around often. 5-0 looks a hell of a lot better than 5-1 or 5-2 or 5-3 in play. And Vargas flies out to right, 1 away. Thank God. Down goes Miguel. He's like, please send me back to the Dodgers. Next up, center fielder Luis Robert Jr. And if there was a guy that could actually hit a 3-run bomb on Taylor, you're looking at him. Hopefully we can get out of this inning unscathed. And I feel like it's more than just the scoreboard itself. It's the aura, the vibe. Think about how many games that you actually can win with the other team with a 0. Not many, You want to make sure you're taking advantage of those moments. And I know that, they're trying to give him some playing time because we're up 5-0. But again, this is not the right time or situation to be playing Taylor. Think about how many more additional saves Munoz could have had instead of them trying these other guys, to kind of close out games. Munoz's ERA is 0, but again, the stats could be, be stacking even up higher if we would be putting Munoz in at the end when we're up. Think about how many games where it hasn't been Munoz when it should have been. And I get we're trying to not, get him injured or, play him too much, but so many missed opportunities for this team. Pitch is low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Taylor to Robert. In play. And a single for Luis Robert Jr. Now we got bases loaded. Oh, Luis. Next up, right fielder Joshua Palacios. I better not see a grand salami. I'm going to be super pissed. Bottom of the ninth, 5-0 lead, bases loaded. Thanks a lot, Troy Taylor. Untrustworthy. I mean, hell, anybody but him. Hell, I would even have Trent Thornton in over him, and I don't trust Trent either. Nice diving grab by Julio, but couldn't get it. First pitch, takes a strike looking with a four-seam fastball, 0-1 count. Can we actually get Taylor ahead of the count 0-2 for once? Golly. Exactly. You put him in when when we're getting blown out, not when we're up 5-0, where he could end up costing us the game. Exactly. 100% my thinking as well. Like if we're down 5-0, then you bring him in play. And Palacios flies out to left. 2 away. We got lucky there. All right, one more out. Next up, DHing 0 for 3, Andrew Vaughn. We need Andrew to go 0 for 4, and I want to see a 5-0 lead just for the simple fact for Luis Castillo. A win is a win, and I get it, 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4, but he pitched so well. I want to have him get that nice feeling. Let's see if Troy Taylor can bounce back from this horrid outing here in the bottom of the ninth. Nice throw by Randy. Nice catch by Big Ben right there at third. And there it is. You wasted the opportunity. Vaughn singles to center. Needroff scores 5-1 Mariners, just like last time when we had a 5-0 lead and we ended up winning 5-1. Fucking A, dude. Stupid. Now Taylor coming in with bases loaded. Michael A. Taylor coming in, and now we're bringing in Munoz. Stupid. I don't want to see this guy playing ever again. Jesus. Send him to AAA. You are not ready. I mean, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if we don't see Troy Taylor or Trent Thornton ever again. Golly. All right, Michael A. Taylor coming in. And we'll see what he does here with bases loaded and 2 outs. Try to get a better photo for Michael A. here. There we go. That's a better one. Munoz in the game. 0-1 pitch after a strike looking, fouled it off. Finding the count now 0-2. One more strike for Munoz and we can end this. Bottom of the ninth, bases loaded. Munoz on the mound. Taylor in the box. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Munoz to Taylor. Bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, 5-1 Mariner lead when we were up 5-0. Should have never brought Troy Taylor in. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Munoz to Taylor. And Taylor strikes out swinging. There we go. And I get it. We won the game 5-1, but we could have won 5-0. And it could have made that Luis Castillo outing even more special with the Julio Grand Salami. But again, 5-1, we did the same exact thing a few games back. 5-0 looks better on the scoreboard, but again, a win is a win. And nice job by Munoz shutting the door down. And again, we'll see what we can do tomorrow, and hopefully we can end up getting a sweep on this team as well. Final score, Seattle Mariners 5, Chicago White Sox 1. And when the Mariners win, what do? We fucking dance. Mariners win! Mariners win! Mariners win! Woo! Let's go! GG, my guy. Good game. Most def. Thanks for the game. Have a good night. You too, my guy. Appreciate you. Anything that you want to see photo-wise? Reflect before we go? Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Nice to be able to see gaining ground on the sub count as well. Gained 4 subs in this stream alone. And we're at 20,000. Oh, and we actually gained 5 subs this stream. We needed 1 to hit 20,800. Now we're at 20,804. 96 to go to 20,900. 196 to get to 21,000. That'll be a special day once we get to that number. I got you. And I'll be live tomorrow for the matchup as well as Wednesday and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the Astros. No days off. No days off, baby. You the man. Appreciate you. Nice job by La Piedra, Luis Castillo. Fantastic night. And the hero of the day, you're looking at him. Grand Salami, get the mustard and rye bread, Julio Rodriguez. Yeah, Astros is always fun for me. That, the Yankees series is always fun as well. So tomorrow we're going to be live. Same time. So we're going to be live at 4:40 Pacific. And it's undecided on who our pitcher is going to be. It's going to be Wilson for the White Sox, 0-2 record with an ERA of 6. So we'll see who we have pitch in that particular spot. And then on Wednesday, it's the rubber match on at 11:10 a.m., and that'll be Logan Evans. And I like our chances in that game as well. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Shout out to all the new subs, all the people that like, sub, donated, commented, and shared. And it's always good when we can get newbies like Alex to come in. We appreciate you. Keep your head up, GG. And I hope to see you back in the room sooner than later. Yes, there we go, Captain. You're doing a great job filling in as one of the lead mods that we need, at least 1 or 2 people to help out with the likes and the subs and the views and the donos. You're doing a great job filling in and helping me out. I appreciate you very, very much. Shout out to Megan and Alec and Reflect and Yale Man, as well as Captain for the duties. Go Mariners, baby. Final score, Seattle Mariners 5, Chicago White Sox 1. We'll be live tomorrow at 4:40 Pacific. And I got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Tridents up. Go Mariners.